Welcome, everyone. We are thrilled to have Nikwax sharing their wisdom and knowledge regarding waterproofing your gear. With us is Heidi, and we are looking forward to learning from her. She knows all about this subject, and I know she's going to give us tons of information. And we're also going to be taking questions at the end of the chat. So make sure that you chime in and know that we will definitely be answering your questions as we go. And we look forward to hearing your input. And without further ado, let's hear from Heidi. Welcome.
All right. Thank you. I'm very excited to be here and talk about gear care with everyone. So yes, I am Heidi from Nikwax. I'm a big fan of helping people understand how to care for their gear to make it last as long as possible. I've actually been with Nikwax for 13 years because I have that passion for extending the life of gear, and Nikwax is just a really great place to work. We make great products that help clean and waterproof your outdoor clothing, footwear, and gear. We've been in business since 1977 when Nick Brown, the founder of Nikwax, invented his own waterproofing wax for leather that helped extend the life of leather hiking boots. And from there, we have developed cleaning and waterproofing products that are both high performance, but also safe for people and the environment. All of our products are PFC free, aerosol free, and they've always been that way. And they're biodegradable and they're water-based. So they're safe to use in your home with your family, which is, again, a very important thing for us at Nikwax. So let's dive right in. We'll talk today about all sorts of different types of gear care, from your rain jacket to your hiking boots, to even your tents and sleeping bags if you're doing a hike that's maybe overnight or just going camping for fun. You know, still want gear that performs the way it should. So I've got some props. So the first thing, the most important thing we're going to talk about to kick things off is something called DWR. I wish I could put something about DWR, and that stands for Durable Water Repellency. And what that is we're going to show you. This is my rain jacket. It's Gore-Tex. And DWR is what makes water beat up, here if you can see, and roll off the surface materials. So you have this on your raincoats, you have it on your hiking boots, you have it on your tents and your sleeping bags. And it really is an important part of outdoor gear, because not only does it help your gear stay waterproof, but it actually helps with breathability. So that sounds a little interesting, but most outdoor gear is both waterproof and breathable. And you want it to be that way, because if you're hiking up a mountain and it's raining, you don't want to be sweating on the inside of your jacket and not being able to have that water vapor to get out. You'll be uncomfortable, you'll get wet from the inside. That's why companies like Gore-Tex and the many other proprietary technologies make waterproof, breathable materials to help us stay really comfortable when we're out doing the activities that we enjoy. However, all of these technologies, most of them, almost all of them, work with that DWR. And because that DWR is on the outside, it helps prevent water from absorbing on the surface fabric. So, more demonstrations. So this is my jacket. So over time, with use, you know, you're going to be rubbing against your car, you're going to be touching your jacket a lot. You know, sometimes you're touching the hood, the sleeves. Sometimes you're going to sit next to a campfire. All those things will leave residues behind on your jacket. So as a little practical demonstration, maybe it's a little weird and gross, but we're going to do it anyway. If I just take this jacket that was just beating up and I just kind of rub it on my skin, body oils, good times. And then I take my spray. You can see it's already not beating up as it once was. And that's because those are contaminants on the outside of your jacket or your shoes or your tent, and they attract water into that surface fabric. And when that happens, it creates a moisture barrier so that your sweat cannot get out. So even if you have a great membrane like Gore-Tex or Event, or again, one of those many proprietary ones, the water won't get through to your skin, which is important, but your sweat won't be able to escape. So you're gonna get hot, you're gonna get clammy, it's gonna feel like your jacket is leaking because you're just, it's kind of gross. So that's why it's super important to maintain that DWR coating on all of your outdoor gear. It's because it helps with the breathability and it helps with your comfort outdoors. So luckily, it's super easy to do, as we like to say. So when that happens on your jacket, you go, oh no, my jacket has failed. You don't have to go out and buy a brand new jacket. You don't want to do that. We like to say that the greenest gear is the gear that you already have. So we really support people extending the life of their gear. It also saves you money, which is nice. But really, again, making sure, and some people have really emotional connections. You know, maybe this is the jacket that you did your 52 hike challenge in, and you have that connection with it. So the good thing is, again, it's super easy. The first thing you want to do is clean. So because you have the oil and dirt and crud on the outside of your jacket, sometimes cleaning is enough to maintain the performance of your jacket for quite some time because it removes those contaminants that are attracting water and it allows the DWR to perform as it should. You do want to use a technical cleaner like Tech Wash, Nikwax Tech Wash, because household detergents also can leave behind residues on the outside of your gear, which attract water, which again can harm that waterproof performance. So be sure that you're cleaning with the proper thing, Tech Wash. You can usually do about 3 to 5 washes-ish before you're gonna need to be waterproof. But a good test is if your jacket or boots, any of your gear is starting to wet out, always try cleaning first. That's the first step. If after cleaning, it's still wetting out, you're like, ugh, that's when it's time to re-waterproof because that means that that DWR, I'm gonna say that like that this whole time. D stands for durable. It is not permanent, so it will wear off over time. So when it wears off, that's when it's time to reapply the waterproofing. So these are your 2 things that you have. So these 2 products are specifically for rain jackets, synthetic filled jackets, and synthetic filled sleeping bags. So Tech Wash to clean, TX Direct to waterproof. We have a little saying at Nikwax, green for clean, purple for proof. If you look at the caps, we have a lot of different products. They all kind of look the same, so use those colors to help you understand cleaning and proofing. 2 different things. You want to do them in 2 different steps. You don't combine, no. You do 2 separate steps. It's really, really, really important that you always clean before you waterproof when it comes to outdoor gear. We have a lovely analogy that we like to use. You wouldn't wax a dirty car. You don't want to waterproof a dirty item. You will not get the performance that you're looking for. It will not work well. So always, always, always clean first before you waterproof. So yes, so that's kind of the deal with what products to use for your jacket. When you go to do a load of laundry with your technical apparel in the washing machine, and you can do it in your home washing machine. If you don't have a washing machine, you can do it in your sink. You can hand wash with our products. A lot of people ask us that because they want to do it when they're traveling, or maybe they live in a little tiny apartment and they don't want to go to the laundromat. Totally fine. Do it in your sink. Some top tips for when you're cleaning your gear. You always want to check the care label of your item. So if you have a jacket or a sleeping bag, look at the little fun tag on your item and understand what's allowed. So it'll tell you wash warm, tumble dry low. Follow those instructions. It's really important because it'll help maintain the warranty of your item if you ever have to send it back to the brand for whatever reason. And certain types of technology work different ways. Gore-Tex, for instance, loves heat. Gore-Tex recommends that you throw your rain jacket in the dryer on medium-high heat. Event, another membrane, does not like heat. They say, no, don't put it on high. So be sure that you're paying attention to the care label on your item. So you've looked at your care label. That's great. The second thing you're going to want to do is check your pockets. Top tip, you should always do that in laundry anyway. Get your, extra $5 bill that you found in your pocket. But you don't want to wash any weird things into your jacket. I've seen lots of cases where people have washed their lip balm, leaving a big greasy stain all over their jacket. Goo packets, those are a bugaboo. So really be sure to clean those pockets out before you throw it in the wash. So yeah, all you have to do is run a load with Tech Wash for the rain jackets instead of your regular household detergent, and then run a second load with TX Direct Wash-In. Easy peasy, that's your jacket. Back good as new. Now, there are other types of outdoor gear besides jackets. It's my favorite one to start with because it explains everything so nicely. But let's say you have some hiking boots that need, again, they have Gore-Tex, have a Gore-Tex membrane in them, or maybe they don't. But they are supposed to be waterproof. Now, if you have a hiking boot that is mesh and does not have a Gore-Tex membrane, that boot is, I'm sorry to say, never going to be waterproof. Water will go through that mesh to your foot. Those will be great for summer hiking in dry weather. Don't get me wrong, they'll keep your feet nice and cool. But we're talking about boots that are supposed to be waterproof today. So similar to rain jackets, you will use a cleaner first. So for footwear, we make something called Footwear Cleaning Gel. So kind of the same thing as Tech Wash, except for you don't use it in a washing machine. It has a little scrubber brush, and you use it to scrub all of the dirt and crud off of your hiking boots, which is also super important because dirt, if it gets embedded into leather or the outer materials of your footwear, can start to abrade those materials and cause them to just break down a lot faster. Also, dirt and mud, if left on your leather hiking boots, if you let them dry out, it'll actually pull the moisture out of the leather of your leather hiking boots and cause them to prematurely dry out and crack and fall apart. So make sure to clean your boots off after hiking. If you've been hiking through some like real gnarly mud, and it's spring, so mud season is going to be upon us soon. So after a hike, really you can brush your shoes off, hose them off outdoors so you're not tracking crud into your house, and then clean them fairly regularly with cleaning gel to make sure that they don't start kind of falling apart and drying out. So cleaning first. Again, similar to the raincoat, if after cleaning you notice they're still not beading up, that's when you see the little water beads rolling off the surface, you're gonna wanna reapply some waterproofing. So for kind of a fabric and leather combination footwear, these are the most common types of hiking boots. You know, it's got a little bit of fabric, a little bit of leather. They're great because they break in really easy, those types of boots. They're very popular all over the place. Also great for if you're a trail runner hiker. I know a lot of people like to hike and trail runners. So this would be great for some trail runner type shoes. You would just spray this on right after cleaning. Again, a non-aerosol spray. You can use it in your house. You don't have to worry about that. And then just let it dry naturally. We also have waterproofing wax for leather. You may have remembered that I mentioned about that wax that Nick made back in 1977 for leather hiking boots. Well, this is that wax. It's been reformulated a few times to keep up with, you know, modern technology, but it's a really great waterproofing product for full grain leather. So you put it on after cleaning and it's instantly waterproof, which is pretty cool. And it'll help, again, maintain the quality and the tanning agents in the leather without over softening the leather. There you go. So some footwear, top tips. And again, if you all have questions, I'm happy to answer the most nerdiest questions you might have after all of this chit chat. Some other gear that you might have, sleeping bags. I mentioned that Tech Wash is great for synthetic filled sleeping bags. But what if your sleeping bag is filled with down? Or what if you wear a down jacket when you go hiking and it gets all dirty? Well, we make Down Wash Direct. Again, green for clean. This is a cleaner for all of your down-filled items. It helps maintain the loft because household detergents are really harmful to those little tiny down pumules. It dries them out, makes them brittle. This is safe for down plumes, and it's also safe for any water repellent coating that is on the outside of the jacket. When you wash down, be sure to clean in a front-loading washing machine. So this is important for two reasons. One, top loaders more often than not, although it's changing these days, but more often than not, have agitators in the center that go back and forth. And that can really beat up the down, twist it around. If your down has baffles, it can pull them apart. So it's really harsh. The other reason is that top loaders fill up this way and down likes to float. And so top loaders don't do a great job of saturating and fully cleaning down because they can't get fully thoroughly cleaned, whereas a front loader, they go round and round and round and the water falls down on them. Use a front loading washing machine when you're cleaning your down items. If you have a humongous sleeping bag, like if you do winter camping and you have a 4-season bag, take it to the laundromat to a commercial sized washing machine because it won't fit in your home washer with enough room to effectively clean that item. It won't have enough, there won't be enough water, it won't have enough room to move. So take it to the laundromat if you have a really big down sleeping bag. The other top tip with down is you need to dry them forever. So you'll need to dry them generally at a lower temperature because you don't want to melt the really lightweight materials that are used with down-filled items. Down is prized because it is so insulative, but so light. So most down items are designed to be as light as possible. And so the outer material is usually very delicate and lightweight. So you don't want to usually dry them on a super high temperature because you want to be very cognizant of not cooking those poor little fabrics. So low heat, and you will probably have to run 5 cycles at least. You don't want your down to come out wet. It'll look all lumpy and sad. Even when you pull it out of the washing machine after cleaning it, it's like a little bit of a like moment because it looks like a shadow of its former self. So throw it in the dryer. Again, go to your manufacturer's website. Some brands say, yes, throw some tennis balls or dryer balls in with the down. Some say, no, don't do that. It'll smack the down around. So follow the manufacturer's instructions. I like to take my down out between tumble dry cycles and give it a little massage to break up any clumps, to kind of fluff it up, and then I'll just expedite the process a bit. So yes, make sure that you dry it. Also, never put down or anything really away wet because it will cause it to mildew and do all sorts of bad things. I feel like maybe that shouldn't have to be told, but you know, it's important to know. And also when you're storing your down, be sure you're storing it in a nice big bag, if it's a sleeping bag, not in its stuff sack. You don't want to store your sleeping bag or your jacket in its little compressible stuff sack because that's just really not great for the down or the jacket in general. Let it breathe, let it be free. So yes, down stuff, sleeping bags. Last but not least, tents and backpacks. So tents and backpacks are a little bit unique because unlike a lot of the gear that we just talked about, they're used almost more often in sunny weather than they are in rainy weather, or at least similarly in both. So the thing about sun is that it is really harsh on those items. If you set your tent up in your backyard and you leave it there in the summer for 2 weeks, it'll actually reduce the fabric strength by half because of those sun rays beaming down on your tent, kind of cooking it. So we have some fun products that help with that too. So again, we're going green for clean here. So we made a cleaner for tents, backpacks. It's good for awnings, like if you have a travel trailer with an awning that pulls out. This cleans, but it also adds UV protection to your items, which helps prevent the degradation, big word, of those fibers of your item. So great for cleaning, also great for protecting your tent from UV damage. Sometimes we do end up camping in the rain. I've been there. It's not so much fun, but it happens. And so you also want to make sure that your tent or hiking in the rain or your backpack is as waterproof as possible. So we also make tent and gear solar proof, which is a waterproofer for your tents or your backpacks, but it also adds UV protection. So both of these products add UV protection. This one just cleans, this one proofs. And if you use them, cleaning and then proofing, they actually double down on that UV protection. So, which is pretty cool. So a little extra UV protection if you do both. You just set up your tent or lay out your backpack and you just spray, wipe it down to clean, and then spray, wipe down any excess and let it dry to proof. Very easy, simple to do. And really useful in extending the life, again, of tents and backpacks and awnings. Even some people, I've heard people use it on patio furniture. You know, get creative. So yeah, I mean, that's more or less the gist of it. I mean, it's really not super hard to do. It's just a lot of people don't know that they can and should care for all of their outdoor gear, and that it's really, really important to do so, because you do extend its life by a really, 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 really long period of time. Also, it's helpful. I know it's interesting. The used gear economy right now is taking off like crazy. So even if you decide that, hey, that rain jacket that I bought, it's just not my color anymore. I'm really more of a purple person and not a teal person. If by caring for it, you can also then sell it to somebody else and make sure that it stays in a loop and is not going to landfill, which is the most important thing, really, in my mind. So yeah, all right. Are we ready for questions?
Well, I guess I definitely have some questions. And I think this might sound silly, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Can you waterproof an item that doesn't have DWR? Like if I love a jacket, can I just waterproof it?
Not mesh shoes, but
not mesh,
but just a regular garment.
Yes, so we do make actually some products that are meant to add water repellency to items that don't have it initially. Some items you will only be able to add water repellency to. You won't be able to make them like bomb-proof, waterproof. But by making things water repellent, it also prevents them from absorbing a lot of water, which is great for if you're hiking or traveling or doing any of those things and you don't want your gear to be sopping wet. So you can absolutely use, you know, the TX Direct on like a windbreaker that maybe isn't water repellent. We also make products that add water repellency to fleece. So we make polar proof for adding to your fuzzy. And then we also make a cotton proof for adding water repellency to cotton items as well. So yeah, you can absolutely do that.
I really wasn't sure what I was going to hear back on that when I was like, I don't know if this sounds silly, but no, that's great. You know, great to hear, because I do know that I've actually used your leather-proof wax for shoes and boots that either had lost the repellency and I really needed it. I was going to be in the snow and long-term snow hiking. So it was great. And yeah, so looks like Melinda has a question. She says, what about Dyneema type fabrics for tents and backpacks?
Mm-hmm. So Dyneema type fabrics should work great with our products. I think you can even use our products on like sil nylon, as long as it has, again, a water repellent coating or not, it should absolutely be fine. For a Dyneema type fabric, I would definitely use the Solar Wash and Solar Proof.
All right, we've got more. Michael says, do you wet boots before cleaning? So yeah, I mean, what's the proper technique for, you know, again, I know you're
going to have the mud. So let's kind of go through it like, you know, step by step. Do you rinse it? How do you do it?
Yep. So if you did leave the mud to dry on your boot, it happens to the best of us. I would brush them off outside first. Otherwise, rinse them. Absolutely. You're going to want to rinse your boots off first. Get them nice and wet, just making sure there's no like thick, chunky debris on them. And then when they're wet, yeah, you're going to use your little scrubber. You're going to squeeze the footwear cleaning gel and just scrub them all over the place. And then rinse the footwear cleaning gel off and you're ready to go. A few other footwear tips: remove your laces before you clean your boots. It makes it so you can access the tongue, especially if there's a gusseted tongue on there. You can get into those little areas, and then you can even clean your shoelaces separately if you're feeling really fancy, because those can get really muddy and gross too. I like to stick my hand in the boot with like some paper towel when I'm cleaning. So if some water accidentally gets inside, the paper towel will soak it up so I don't have wet boot interiors. Yeah, absolutely wet them first. It helps spread around the cleaner, kind of like when you're cleaning dishes. You don't want to just throw the dish soap on without wetting them first.
I have a question too with that, adding to Michael's question. So I actually had this happen to me, the same exact experience where I left mud on my boots and I did not clean them for a long time. So when you're done and you've done the proper cleaning, is it okay to let them air dry outside and under the sun, or is that going to create more damage?
Under the sun is probably okay. I definitely recommend air drying though, 100%. Like don't stick them on a heater. Don't put them in your oven. Let them air dry naturally, is really the best way. I like to dry my shoes inside because more often than not, I'll put them out and then it inevitably rains that night and then my shoes get all soaking wet again. So, but if it's super sunny, you can use the sun to dry them.
We have other questions. Patty asked if there are YouTube videos to show how to use the product. And I see that Nikwax has responded with a couple of YouTube links. And then also don't forget, we're going to share this video as well. So be on the lookout for that. So you can go back and kind of see what different products help with what different types of gear you have.
Yes,
and then
absolutely. Lots of videos.
Dawn wants to know, what about waterproofing suede Ugg boots?
Ooh. So I didn't pull this one out. So we actually make a waterproofing product for footwear called Nubuck and Suede Proof. It looks very similar to this, has a little spray on. All the processes are the same. I have noticed with more fashion forward footwear that sometimes when going through the process, we've noticed some dye release. Like if you get them wet, sometimes the dye comes off. But you can absolutely use our products to clean and waterproof any suede footwear. Sometimes doing a spot test first is important. Again, if it's like a more fashiony style footwear. That said, if you don't waterproof them and you get water stains and salt stains on them, not great either. So yes, Nubuck and Suede Proof for suede.
Perfect.
All right, I have a question. I was noticing on the website that you have a spray on the TX Direct. And when would I use the spray on versus the wash in?
Fabulous question. Absolutely fabulous. You are right. We do. We make a spray on version of our TX Direct waterproofing. The shorter answer is if you want to. Some people really prefer using a spray. They like that real, manual application. If you do use a spray on, make sure A, you clean first, and B, that you apply it to the item while it's still wet. Our products are water-based, so the waterproofing goes where the water goes. So you don't want to apply this onto a dry item. The only instance when you'd really, really, really only want to use the spray over the wash-in is if you have an item that has a moisture wicking liner. It's not a fun term. So we see that sometimes in like a running wind shirt where you have kind of a softer kind of synthetic outside and then like a fuzzy wuzzy lining on the inside that's meant to pull moisture away from your skin. And you don't want to waterproof that because then it won't pull moisture away from your skin. It won't absorb moisture. But those are pretty rare these days, honestly. So generally spray on is for people who prefer to do that. A lot of times people say spot treatment, but again, you're still going to want to clean the whole item first and make sure you apply it to a wet item also.
Okay, so just for clarification, the wash-in will still allow the jacket, the shell to be breathable. It'll still allow
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, perfect. Okay. Let's see. All right, we have lots more questions. All right, so Michael is asking, do you wash down garments by hand? And that's a question mark in there. So that's I'm assuming that's going to be a question if you can do it in like a bucket versus like a versus a machine.
You can wash down items by hand, absolutely. I've done it before. If you have a big item like a sleeping bag, sometimes a bathtub's a better option for that. I will say washing by hand is fine. The rinsing process can get a little tedious, but if you're doing it by hand, the thing that's the most challenging when it comes to down, if you don't have a washer and dryer, is the drying. Air drying down takes forever, and you really have to monitor it the whole time. And again, make sure that you're manually breaking up all those little clumps as you go along, and then fluffing it and then laying it out again, and which you can do. It just will take a lot longer.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, this is a good one too. All right. So Shane is asking, if I proof my hiking pants, can I also treat the pants with permethrin as well? Permethrin is used to repel ticks and other things. But yeah, go ahead, Heidi.
That is also a great question. I have never done that myself. So my broad answer would be yes. However, if permethrin is a spray and it's liquid based, trying to apply it to something that is very, very water repellent could be challenging. So just thinking about how that works could be an interesting relationship. So I would do a little spot treatment. Honestly, I've tested out. I would perhaps try it at home, spray it on, see if you can get it to sit, or if it just rolls right off. It is possible too, by adding things like that, that it could affect the water repellency. So there might be some, I don't know, some ticks are the worst. Some techniques that you could use, maybe use a bandana around your ankle with some permethrin or something. But that is completely off the cuff comment. So I don't know if that's the right answer for that. But yeah, I would do a spot test first for sure.
Definitely always a good tip. And also I think, for example, not in this specific instance, but I know that, like you said, tents, you can put permethrin spray on it. And let's say I would almost say probably waterproof it first, let it dry out, give it a little bit of time, and then do the treatment, because that way, not only spot treat it, but then in that order, I think would probably make the most sense. If you are going to try that out. Trying to think, there was anything else to add. Yeah, like for tents, you can add the permethrin, because I've done it before when I've gone on a long backpacking trip, especially for mosquitoes. So yeah.
You can always do with tents if it's a separate fly tent. So if you have the body of the tent and the fly, you can always apply the permethrin to the body of the tent instead of the fly, so that you're making sure you're not affecting any water repellency there. But sometimes it's a unibody tent, and that can be more challenging.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, I guess I could probably suggest maybe do permethrin for like your shirt, but then waterproof like your outerwear, and so that way you're kind of having a little bit best of both worlds.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that's what Shane was also saying here. It's also to, in a little bit different way, solution is probably treat the pants for ticks, then bring weather gear. So yeah, I would probably do something like that, Yeah,
and for your inner layer. Yeah,
I think one of the top things that I would say brought it all home to me was, make sure to check your labels as you're cleaning your items. And I think that's really important. Also, I know you mentioned backpacks, but to clarify, because I, for example, have a backpack that's like a lighter gray, and I took it traveling with me, and now it's like kind of gray with black spots all over it. So, and it's such an interesting piece of gear. So like, do I use a brush? How do I best wash something like that? Because I don't think I can get it now to look the light gray that it really is. So I'm just curious how you would wash a backpack that has, it's a fitted backpack that has a frame. And so what are your tips for something like that piece of gear?
Yeah, so I would definitely use the Tent Gear Solar Wash and spray it on. That said, a nice, either a stiff to soft bristle brush would go a long way to help really scrub out the stains. I actually do use that even with rain jackets and some down jackets. Is sometimes I'll pour a little bit of the Tech Wash or Down Wash Direct if it's like a really nasty stain, or like around the cuffs and the zipper, they get kind of cruddy. I'll pour some of the product just straight on there and then use like an old toothbrush or like a dish brush to scrub it for a while to help release those stains. So I'd recommend trying that with the backpack, spraying the product right on there and giving it a good scrubby scrub. You might need to go at it a couple times, but that usually will help lift stains out.
Is this like a spot treatment, or would I immerse the backpack in water? And do you know? I mean, I've honestly never cleaned that backpack.
I would do a spot treatment first.
Okay.
Same thing with like jackets. Do the spot treatment first to just help lift the stain. And then if your backpack is real nasty, then yeah, maybe a nice, get like a Rubbermaid tub or something, fill it with water and kind of shush around in there. With the cleaning, you can even spray some into the water, do a few rinses, scrub it. Again, that's if it's really, really nasty. But yeah, you can attack it from a bunch of different angles for sure, and it should be fine for the backpack. Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. Elaine has a question. Do you recommend a good brush to use on hiking boots?
Anyone you can find, really. We've done some work in the past with an organization that helps prevent the spread of invasive species. And they have these cool brushes. They're actually like a horseshoe pick brush. So it actually has a little metal pick and then the brush on it. So you can use the pick to like dig into your treads and then the brush to get the dirt off. But really any like dish brush or anything like that will help. If it's for getting like chunks of mud off, a stiffer bristled brush will do a better job. But don't use a metal bristled brush. That'll jack up your boots for sure.
I could see that for sure.
Cool. Okay. All right. So we have some other people. We have people saying cool, nice information, great information. Thank you. All right. Awesome. Let's see.
Looks like we have Daniel, who just said bathtub, uses a brush that he got at AutoZone to clean all of his hiking gear. And let us know in the comments below, who here, I mean, I wish we could do a poll, but do you clean your gear after hiking, like besides your clothing? Because it's a great question. I'm just curious, like, do you wash and clean your gear, or is this new information to you where you're like, no, I didn't, but now I'm going to? Because I'm in the new school of when I recently learned about my boots, I was like, uh-oh, I've really ruined those boots probably, but we'll see. I used them the other day. They seemed fine. But yeah, I didn't know that. So I'm always learning something new, to be honest with you.
Yeah, if you forget your boots after a hike or two, they're not going to like spontaneously explode on your doorstep. Like it's more of a consistent neglect that leads to their downfall. So if you've been a bad boot owner for a little while, it's not too late. You can still help ensure that they last a while by starting to take care of them. And again, like we mentioned before, it depends on use. So if you're using your items once a week or more, then you probably going to want to clean a couple times a season at least. But if you're a less frequent user, maybe after the hike challenge is complete and you're only getting out, for shame, a couple times, so sad, a season, then you don't have to clean as often. So it's really a use dependent thing for sure.
So I'm going to also, I have another question. So I had a jacket for like 15 years and it started to delaminate, and it was one of my favorite jackets, so I didn't really want to let it go. And but I was just curious. I mean, it's pretty much once it delaminates, it's done for, right? Or are there any products that would help it? Or and I will be honest with you and say I probably didn't take care of it that much, but I'm just wondering, is that there's got to be a certain time frame where things you just can't really help them anymore, right?
Yeah, delam is a real big challenge. A lot of delamination can happen, especially if you don't wash your jacket. So, okay, getting a little gross here. But when delam happens, it usually happens like kind of in areas where it touches your body more often than not. So you have like body oils that are interacting with that, and that actually causes bacteria to help accelerate the breakdown of that kind of internal lamination. So delam is kind of not coming back from the dead. That said, if it's like a seam tape situation, there are gear repair companies out there. And Rainy Pass here, they're in Seattle, and I think they have another location in Pennsylvania. They do some amazing things for fixing gear. So they can help repair with seam tape. They can replace zippers, which is like the worst. They can do all sorts of things to help save your gear. So if you do have a beloved item that you really want to make sure that it lasts, but it's coming apart, there's, you know, again, your zippers pulling out or your seam tape's kind of starting to flap a little bit, you can reach out to them and sometimes they'll be able to save that item. But if the interior of your rain jacket is just starting to like flake off,
yeah. And by the way, I was going to say, it's when that has happened to me, because it did happen to me, it was like 3 years later. And I took it, I remember one time to Peru, and it was raining like crazy for a long time, like days. And so I think at some point it just was like, but it had been years. I've been using this jacket for a long time. So that's the nice thing. You know, a lot of times this doesn't happen for quite a long time, especially if you use it a lot. But definitely, I bet if I would have taken better care of that piece, it would have lasted maybe another year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, certain types of rain jackets also have a shorter lifespan. Not to be a price snob, because I'm absolutely not, but like generally the lower price point rain jackets tend to delaminate on the inside a lot faster. That just has to do with how they're constructed and, you know, the interior of the item and how it's made. So, you know, if you're getting like a sub 100 rain jacket, more often than not, it will have a shorter lifespan when it comes to delamination. But again, by trying to keep it clean and prevent that crud on the inside from building up, you can definitely help extend it by at least a bit more.
Yeah, great. By the way, it was great listening or hearing from all of you. A lot of people are like, I'm going to take better care of my gear now.
I might be in that bucket too. So we have another question, and I think this is a good one too. They're all good questions, of course. Stephanie says, I live in Phoenix, so I do a lot of desert hiking and my boots get dusty. Should I be cleaning the dust off them as well? So different from mud.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say clean them every now and again. That dust and dirt can pull moisture, especially if they're leather, can pull moisture out of the leather, which will then cause them to dry out and break down a lot faster. So yeah, I would clean them every so often, just to make sure that they have a refresh. But you don't have to, you know, be super crazy about it, especially if they're kind of a fabric. Again, the dirt can get in and abrade the fibers, but it's a slow process. Plus, you know, it depends. Some people think dirty clothes and boots are a badge of honor and, you know, respect. You're out there doing cool stuff, but sometimes you just want your stuff to look well cleaned.
Okay. Yeah, and so someone else said I clean only if extremely dirty. And I think I was also thinking that way too, but now I'm starting to think maybe I should clean more often. Is there like a recommendation about how often you should clean? I think, was it every 3 times, or what's the general rule of thumb?
The best rule of thumb, especially for jackets and things, is clean it when it starts wetting out. So if you start noticing or if it looks dirty, right? Like if your jacket looks dirty, or if your shoes like look really dirty, it's probably time to clean. It's, if you think about your clothes, like if you have a shirt that's covered in like pizza stains, like you want to clean it. So when it looks dirty, or if it starts wetting out, usually those two can go hand in hand, because again, dirt will attract water.
Okay,
great.
And also a little bit on that topic, just kind of curious. If someone sweats just a little bit and then doesn't like use the jacket for a while, does that also degrade the material when there's like a little bit of sweat on there? Do you happen to know about that one?
I mean, a little bit's probably fine. It could lead to your jacket being a little stinky. But you know, I think a little bit here and there. And again, most people aren't wearing like a jacket over nothing. So usually a lot of times your base layers will be absorbing that sweat first. So there's very little that will get on your jacket unless, again, it's right at the neck or sleeves. So if you have a tiny little bit of sweat on your coat, again, it's not gonna explode in your closet. You'll be okay. Just make sure that you do wash it. A good baseline for like the most chillaxed gear care is like once a season. Like if you're gonna put it away after the rainy season, clean it before you put it away. That way when you pull it out, it's like ready to rock and you're happy.
So someone named Karen said she wants to know where she can purchase the products, local versus online.
Yes, so we're sold in almost all the independent specialty retail stores. If you go to the website locally, it's where you can actually see where products are sold at the store and see real-time inventory at stores near you. So if you're looking for a specific product, it'll actually help you see where the product is and where it's available. So locally is a great resource for kind of smaller shops. We do have a dealer locator on our website, but it doesn't show inventory, so that makes things a little trickier. And we are, of course, available online. So if you do a little Nikwax search, you'll find us also on the major online marketplaces.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, off topic though. What and how can I show my hikes? I'm only able to hike 2 miles. I'm guessing
that's for us.
It's for us. So Katie, I don't know if you've joined we have a 52 hike challenge official group. Please check the link on this page for groups. There is an official groups. You're more than welcome to share your hikes on there. It doesn't matter if they're 2 miles or getting out there. That's a really supportive community of people doing the challenge. I'm in there checking every day pretty much. I love seeing people's posts, and it's just a great way to keep up the conversation going. And so that's for Katie. It looks like we also have another question. We have quite a few.
Yeah. Michael said, could you please repeat the name of the gear repair company?
Yes. So Rainy Pass.
Rainy Pass?
Rainy Pass.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
All right, cool. And of course, we got some nice kudos. We have Patty saying, this is the exact information I was looking for. Thanks. I'm telling you, I've learned quite a bit, and I've been getting out for quite some time, which is probably why I've had new gear now, and but now I'm going to take care of it better.
Well, I mean, we're all outdoors people. We're all a little bit of like gear heads. Buying new gear is fun, but that's why I'm talking about the secondhand thing too. So like, if you're the sort of person that is just like has to have that latest cool new rain jacket, you can care for your old one and then sell it to someone else who's getting into hiking and is looking to, outfit themselves. And I think that's just right on.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, and we're all about that, I mean, we also want to promote like reuse, reduce, reuse, recycle when you can. I actually I do not want more gear personally. I'm good. Like I wear the same stuff until it's on its deathbed, and then I peacefully say thank you and then put it to rest. But I really try not to have too many pieces of gear, and the pieces of gear I do have and love, I want to definitely have for a long time. So I'm definitely going to do a better job of cleaning my gear from now on.
I think everyone will. All right, cool. Just another kudo here. Marlene says, I'm a huge fan of Nikwax, and this is a really great presentation. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Awesome. Yes, and we really truly appreciate you guys supporting us. You are a sponsor of the challenge this year, and we appreciate that. It helps us to do this work, to educate, to be able to provide educational services is one of the greatest joys that we have. And we truly do appreciate you coming on with us today, answering all the questions and sharing all the different products you offer. And yeah, we're going to repost this video on YouTube. We're going to share it on our newsletter as well. So if someone missed the chat, they can come back to it. And thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you to the
Most
community
welcome.
as well.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys had great guys and gals, had great questions. I definitely learned a lot myself. So anyway, thank you.
Yes, thanks everyone. It was really fun. And I'm so happy that I was able to answer all those questions and nerd out on gear care with everybody today.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. See you on the trails.